Hi everyone and welcome back to Vigilance Talk. I have decided to go ahead and create a video series on what I think are the best ways to defend yourself in an SHTF scenario. These videos will be published in no particular order. However, I will emphasize certain ways you can defend yourself over others throughout the series. As many of you watching this know, self-defense is key if SHTF were to occur, as the system that once protected the population will no longer be there. Once that system breaks down, there is no doubt that criminals of all types, be it petty thieves, rapists, murderers, as well as vigilante groups, will be roaming the streets and preying on innocent people. Thus, people need to rely on themselves in order to protect what they hold dear. Now, to kick this video series off, one way you could defend yourself in SHTF will be, and you guessed it by the title, guns. I know I will be taking a huge amount of heat for saying this, but guns are not my first option for personal protection. Ultimately, we have to remember that guns are a tool, and in an SHTF scenario, if your gun breaks, you can't just bring it to a gunsmith to have it fixed. It's obviously not going to work that way. Similarly, if you run out of ammo, you cannot simply run down to the gun store to pick up more ammo. You also have to consider the legal ramifications of using a firearm. Indeed, many people have found themselves in a lot of trouble because they do not follow their state and federal firearm laws. This includes where SHTF did occur, like New Orleans when Hurricane Katrina hit and rule of law was eventually restored. So remember, even in an SHTF scenario, you want to obey the law, and the use of firearms to defend yourself should be a last resort. Now, this is not to say that guns are not an effective defensive tool. They absolutely are. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing a video on them. Indeed, they are the great equalizer, and they can also be used to hunt small and large game in a situation where food is scarce. It should also be noted that I am an avid supporter of the Second Amendment, and I am totally against gun control. However, I want my viewers to be aware of the risk of using a firearm. Having said this, what guns would I recommend specifically for self-defense in an SHTF scenario? The first gun I would recommend for SHTF would be a handgun. Handguns are concealable, which makes you stick out less, which is very important if a without rule of law situation were to occur. Walking around with a rifle will make you stick out like a sore thumb. This could threaten you and your family, as folks that see you may think that you not only have firearms, but also food, water, and other supplies that they may need. Now, a handgun is pricey. Glocks run about $500 or so, and Smith & Wesson M&Ps are a little bit cheaper. Then you have your HK and SIGs, which is pretty much out of most people's price range. Having said that, there are some budget options out there that are still durable and reliable. The guns that come to mind is the Canik TP9, the Smith & Wesson SD9, and the Ruger SR9VE. And of course, police trade-ins are always a great option. The calibers that I would recommend are the calibers that are generally speaking available in large quantities in gun shops. 9mm is the obvious one, and then you got your 40 and 45, which are good, and of course 38 Special and 357 Magnum. The next gun that I would recommend for SHTF is a good shotgun. As many of you know, shotguns are extremely versatile weapons. They are effective tools for hunting as well as self-defense. And there are a variety of loads for shotguns as well. You can even shoot flares out of a shotgun in case you need to signal for help. Personally, I would go with a 12 gauge, either a Mossberg 500 or the Remington 870, which are usually around $300 for the base models. However, if you are on a budget, the Mossberg Maverick 88 is a great option along with the Savage Stevens 320. They usually go for somewhere in the range of $200 to $250 brand new, give or take. The next gun you need is what I would call a good battle rifle. Any AK or AR platform is good, although I would recommend doing research on the model you are looking to buy. Having said that, you can expect to pay bare minimum $500 for an AK or AR platform. However, you may not get the best or most reliable model out of that. If you want something that definitely has the quality, I would go with rifles that are about $650 or more. And again, do your research, because even some rifles that are expensive may not be very reliable as well. It should also be noted that certain states have banned the AK and AR platforms, so some good alternatives will be the Ruger Mini 14 or the SKS, which is usually around $300 to $400. And if you're lucky, you'll probably find it somewhere below $300. Okay, so now let's talk about ammo. Ammo is essential to your firearm because without it, your firearm is just a piece of metal, polymer, and plastic, nothing more. So how much ammo do you need for each of the weapon types I just mentioned? Now, at minimum, for your handgun, I would recommend 500 rounds. Same thing, at minimum for your shotgun, at least 300 shells, which should be a mix of slugs, buckshot, and birdshot. And for your battle rifle, I would recommend minimum 1,000 rounds. Now, some of you may think that these numbers are very low, but remember, these are just the minimum recommendations for each firearm. Let's also not forget that in the event you need to bug out, most likely you will not be able to carry huge amounts of ammo with you. For example, suppose you have a stash of 50,000 rounds of various calibers in your basement and a group of 20 marauders come to raid your home. Obviously, at this point, fighting is not an option, and either you give yourself up to this group or you run away. Both decisions will result in you losing your ammo stash. This is why you need to be prepared to bug out at any time, but we will save that subject for another video. Tactical training is always a great option. You could also do some things at home like dry firing, which will help you to refine weapon manipulations. Anyways, folks, that's my take on guns for self-defense. Thank you for tuning into Vigilance Talk. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like what you hear, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe to my channel.